Welcome to Zwift 35, which was stage one of the Zwift games, which was the Makuri Madness route, which is 16.1 kilometers in distance and 88 meters in incline. So a very flat route, very short route as well. So expecting this to be really punchy. This was the range 2 ride, so it was from race score 210 to 330. I'm currently on a race score of 310, which is the highest I've had it, so I'm quite pleased about that. So I usually drop in a request for subscription at the end of the video, but I'm trying to get it in early today in the hope that more people will be watching. So please subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost you anything to click that button, and it would be very much appreciated. I joined the pen 19 minutes before the race actually started in an attempt to get a really good position in the pen. I was watching somebody's video yesterday and they left it a little bit longer, and they were, well, there was a huge gap between the start line and their group, because obviously we're aware that only 100 riders show up when you're in Zwift. So this person must have joined between 100 and 200th place. So there was a huge gap, like I said, before the start line, and they were 10, 15 bike lengths back. So I wanted to avoid that, so I joined really, really early. I joined when there was 40 riders, so I was 4 rows back. And then my intention was that I would be able to just take it really, really easy off the start line. But you can see that 1 kilometre into the start, average watch 260, and I'm really working hard. And I'm actually thinking, is there any draft effect in this race? Because everyone just seems to be going past me. And you can see I've put a little burst in there because there's a gap between myself and the riders in front. And I'm back now in 156th position. So again, another little burst up this hill, just trying to keep hold of the front group and just thinking that they'll ease off soon and I'll be able to settle into a nice pace, and that was my hope. So you can see from the mini map we're quite stretched out. Like I said before, it only shows 100 riders, so I would suggest that that doesn't even show all the riders at the front. With me being in 165th position, you can see there's also riders behind me. So, like I said, just hoping that it will slow down a bit. Average watts still going up. It's up to 264 now. It's just dropping slightly at the moment, but 2.6 kilometers into this race and the pace doesn't seem to be letting off, and I didn't expect it to be like this. So as we go around this right-hand bend, I start to get distance again. Nobody behind me on the mini-map. You can see the whole group are out in front, and then suddenly on another left-hand bend, you can see there's a good gap. I push it up over close to 600 watts, and yeah, I'm distance. They're 2 seconds ahead of me now. I put another little burst in, thinking I'm going to catch them and they'll ease off. I continually think that the groups in front are going to, well, the group in front is going to ease off. Potentially you'll see me put another burst in. Yeah, there we go. I'll put over 400 for a few seconds, just trying to keep hold of this group. So now we're almost 4 kilometers into the race, which is a quarter distance, just going through the tower sprint. I'm averaging now 270 watts after 4 kilometers. I know I mentioned my average watts from time to time, but I'm pretty sure this must be one of the highest ever average watts for the first 4 kilometers, up now to 273. And at this point, 4.3 kilometers, I give up the chase and I let a few come past me. I'm not going to keep up with this group in front. My heart rate was up around the 160 mark, and I wasn't just going to be able to sustain it. So I succumbed to the thought process that I just need to ease off. I looked back at the mini map, see there's a group behind me, didn't realise they were actually as big as they were. There's about 30 riders in here. But yeah, now, so I've settled in with this second group. Though even now when I'm riding with this second group, which I thought would be a more acceptable pace for myself, I almost get distance again. But just at this point here, I'm in a little bit better position as we go through the arcade area. But again, we're still quite stretched out on the mini-map, and you can see I'm right at the back. So despite the fact that, you know, that second group is slightly slower paced than the first group, I'm still struggling to keep hold of the back wheels of the riders in front. So you can see as I'm riding around at the back of this group in just over 200th position, the group behind us are 6 seconds, and I think we had quite a large group behind us. What we had in front was various groups and various individuals just splintering off. So there was a main group of well over 100 riders. I think there was about 150 of them who were in the front group, and then numerous people between the front group and the second group, and most of those were just making their way back to the second group at a more gentle pace. So you can see from the cross section up by the top right hand corner on the mini map that we're just about to hit a descent here, which suits me a little bit better. I would imagine, looking at that cross section, that there's actually more descending than there is ascending, so that was a real positive for me. Weighing in at 92 kilograms, the downhills will suit me. So I was hoping for a little bit of relaxation coming down here, and I could ease off a little bit, and that tended to be the case. I also had the power up, which you can see, the aero boost, which was going to aid me as well. So as we start dropping down, which goes through this figure eight system, you'll see that my watts just drop down gently. You'll see also the leaders have just gone underneath us. So I know at the start I said it was only a quick sprint, with it only being 16 kilometres, but it did seem to be going really quick. We're already inside the final 5 kilometres. We're just about to hit flat here as we come out the other side of the caves, and it's along the beachfront for a while before we go back into a small town where we go through a corkscrew, and that is the only incline left before the finish line, really. So here I am in 195th position. I think there's around about 50 riders in this group. I start fast forwarding to try and get through to the riders in front. And here you go, here's the front group. So there was about 140 of them. But back to us, and just watching the closing stages now, and hoping that I can maintain a good position. Although I'm not really thinking of my position too much, I'm just trying to keep my average watts up, and it's dropped down from where we saw it a quarter of the way in at 270 watts. We're back down to about 240, which is still good for me, but would like to keep it around that range. I've been averaging 235 recently over longer distance, so would like to keep it finishing around the 240. So I'm working hard now. You can see I'm actually riding stronger than my average watts, which is obviously going to increase my average watts going through the last few kilometres.
Toast.
So 2.2 kilometres to go now, and we're going to go through this corkscrew effect that you can see in front of us on the mini map in the right hand corner. You can see now in the central section the percentage inclines, which is currently -2, so a little bit of a descent before picking up to this 3.7, 3.9 and then up over 4. And I was really pleased with how I got on going up this hill. Normally I will get dropped going up the inclines. I was able to drop it down a few gears and still keep my cadence up, get out the seat as well, and just carried on pushing hard, and actually came up over the top in first position. I think just as I start to drop down, I zoom to the other group because I'm conscious of trying to catch them going over the finish line. So I'm sure any second now. Yeah, here we go. I'm trying to zoom forward now, but I'm trying to get through 140 riders, and unless somebody knows a quicker way of doing it, I'm only ever going to move forward about 10 positions at a time. So they're all sprinting, so I would imagine they're getting close. You can see them in the mini map there. Here we go, just passing the finish line, and they only catch 50th position. But they were a whole huge bunch of around 150 riders who were all making a sprint over the last kilometre or so. So I'll show you the results in a bit after I finished, gone over the finish line, sorry. And you'll be able to see how close their finishes were. So here I am, 170th. I'm not putting a massive sprint in, but I am putting a little bit of effort in to come over the line in 170th position. So pleased with it. My average watts was 246, which meant that I was 2.7 watts average, and yeah, not judging myself by the fact that I came 170th, but judging by the fact that I averaged 2.7 watts, which is a good effort from me. So there it is. I'll go through the results now. Obviously, I'm not going to show you the whole of the 330 people who went over the finish line. I'll just focus on the top 10. So here's the results. From 1st to 10th, it was only separated by 2 seconds. Matthias Ragnerhead was first over the line in 22 minutes and 55 seconds. He averaged 3.5 watts per kilogram, which is massively high. Then we had T. Scott in second place, same time, just 1/10 of a second, just under 1/10 of a second behind him, averaging 3.1 watts. Then we had MH, Michaela Slaw H. He came in third, averaging 3.2 watts. Then we had Daniele Carpentieri. He was averaging 3.3 watts. Ross McKaig, he came over the line in fifth, averaging 3.5 watts. Then we had Geo Slaw, averaging 3.0 watts. Then we had Jay Fix, I'm going to go for, averaging 3.2 watts, just 2 seconds behind the leader. Then we had Tobias Peter in 8th. He averaged 3.0 watts per kilogram, and he also was just 2 seconds behind the leader. Then we had in 9th Sean McCarthy, same time, averaging 3.2 watts. And then 10th, finally, Cam Stark, doing really, really well there, same time as well, averaging 3.2 watts. So that was really pleasing. Yeah, so there is a good positive ride for myself. Like I said, I average 2.7 watts, so I'll take that as a real positive. I won't worry too much about the position. So, hope you've enjoyed watching the video. Please subscribe. There are more subscribers coming along every time. It doesn't really cost anything for you just to click that subscribe button and follow the channel, and then you'll see a couple of videos a week. Okay, catch you all again soon. Cheers, bye.